Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast, A Lion Among the Sheep. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. What a beautiful day. It's a little warmer down here today. It's in the 80s. I know you don't want to hear that in the Northeast, but it's a beautiful day. Our blessings to you. Thank you for your blessed having you with us. And Coach Jamie, it's a blessing having you with me as well on this podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend.
Yes, Scott. Glad to be here on Thanksgiving Day. I hope you had an enjoyable day up to this point, man, and taking in all the great football games that are going to be transpiring throughout today and just sports overall. I think when we think about Thanksgiving, it's a day for everyone to come together. But besides that, to watch sports, to connect and just enjoy each other's company.
You're right. And I'm going to tell you, being from Florida now, we have a big game at 8:20 tonight. It's Miami's up there in the frigid Lambeau Field, Green Bay Packers. That's going to be a classic. We're going to see how the Finns from sunny Miami do up in the frigid. I think it's cold up there from what I see up in Green Bay. But yeah, it's a
No,
great
it
day. Great
does.
day for family, friends, and just be blessed. We're blessed. But along those lines, we talked about it was a great podcast last time on Tuesday about the parenting. Thank you for your comments and people reaching out to me. We're going to do more on that topic down the road. But here is what we want to talk about today. Coach Jamie, people say, how do I get started? I had a guy reach out to me and ask how to get started and what he wants to do. So he asked, what supplement should I take? And the first supplement we should be taking, it's creatine phosphate. And there's multiple reasons. What do you think, Jamie? Creatine phosphate? What are your thoughts on creatine? When someone says, I take creatine, what jumps into your head?
I take it too.
That's right. I do too.
I've been taking creatine consistently probably for at least 20 years minimum. It's a fantastic supplement. I think all of the benefits in recovery, in regard to helping us recover faster. The other components, it enhances brain function. I mean, there's several other studies that we've talked about amongst ourselves and how valuable creatine is to anyone, whether you have just starting a program, intermediate, or advanced.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone should be at a certain age. We'll talk about this.
Absolutely.
If you're in the gym, if you're out there playing any type of sports, you should be taking creatine. And right, we'll talk about the cognitive benefits as well. But basically, it's funny. People have misconceptions about creatine. First of all, they think it's like a steroid that if you take too much, your body's going to shut down making. Like in a steroid, if people are injecting themselves with performance enhancing drugs such as steroids, your body, your testes, and you start decreasing the self production. That's not
Hmm.
so it doesn't produce as much. Your body naturally doesn't produce as much hormone because you try to keep a homeostasis level in your body. People aren't going to have 1,100 or 1,700 whatever units of testosterone when the normal is 800 to 1,100. Your body's going to reduce that by its own. That's not the case with creatine. Creatine is produced by the liver, and also but the kidneys and the pancreas involved as well. But it's produced naturally by the liver, and it's not no matter how much you take, if your body doesn't use it, you just
Hmm.
excrete it from your system, through urine. And it's not one of these things that builds up a tolerance, but the key essential part, I mean, it's twofold creatine. And people say, well, I want to build muscle mass, I want to build lean muscle mass. The studies actually show it does increase lean muscle mass. It does make you retain water, which anybody knows about lifting. The retention of water helps grow muscle growth.
Right.
But what I take it for is we do explosive movements. It's the best source for your energy source in the metabolic system called the phosphagen system. That's the short term 15, 20, 30-second explosiveness to
Right.
rebuild that energy system. And I don't know if you had if you stopped taking for a period and you take it again, if you could tell your energy levels in the gym increased. Do you find that, Jamie?
No, absolutely, Scott. it's been a little bit of time, but actually 7 months ago, I was traveling and I typically, depending on if I'm flying, driving, whatever the case may be, as you know, at the airport, you can't take certain type of
Right.
supplements or some, it can be confusing. So, but I actually forgot and whatever reason I wasn't, and so I didn't continue to take it, which I don't load. I think when I
Right.
was earlier on and we didn't have as much data. Now we have over 20 years of studies that support all the wonderful things you said about creatine. So and I'm not saying that's wrong, but I know some people load, they'll do 5 days, 4 or 5 grams over a 5 day period. And then from that point, or 2 weeks, or whatever the case may be. But from the studies I felt most comfortable with, I just simply started doing 5 grams per day. And
Yeah.
I do that literally every single day. And to your point, when I did not take it for 5 days, I definitely could feel the difference in terms of my overall strength, just how I felt so flat,
Right.
as well. And I think the other part of it, psychologically, when I don't take it, I feel like I'm operating like 15 pounds um lighter than what I typically would lift. I know it's psychologically to some degree, but psychologically is part of the whole battle we have with ourselves.
Our mind controls everything. We know that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing
Yeah.
about creatine. It is the most studied supplement in the history of supplements. It's
Yeah.
been there's study after study after study. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. And Jamie, I was telling you about a good friend of mine. She's a world-class bodybuilder. And we had a discussion that day, and she's like, I don't like taking creatine because it enlarges your heart. And I said, I never heard that. I think you're
Yeah.
wrong. But you know what? I could be wrong. Maybe there's a new
Right.
study out there. So I went
Yeah.
back to the data, the whole data, and I didn't find it. So I talked about it. She goes, I heard it from a bodybuilder coach. So there was no basis in science where she heard that. But that's what happens. People hear this, they see it on TikTok. This is wrong. It's going to decrease your testosterone levels. It's going to decrease this. It's going to be harmful. You're going to be dehydrated. I'm going to put down a link below. Examine.com. You can type in creatine, it'll give you every study. You can put anything in this examine.com. It's a really no hold, just no frills, no bias. Every study that they've had will come up on this if you put creatine in or vitamin A or vitamin whatever you want to research. You can research supplements on there. It's an outstanding website that's not biased. But here's the thing: what I use it for, and what I think our athletes should really, it does help. It does promote lean muscle mass growth. There's no doubt about that. It adds because there's a retention of water, and plus that's the main benefit for muscle growth. But here's the thing: it's the primary source in the ATP energy process modality.
Yeah.
Adenosine triphosphate. Anybody who knows that is the explosive speed energy system we have. So you're doing whatever. If you're playing tennis, a tennis point is usually 4 hits, which is about 15 to 20 seconds. So that
Right.
15, 20 seconds, you're running explosive speed, you're using adenosine triphosphate. And what happens is as you use explosive speed, you lose that phosphate, one of the phosphate molecules, ion. So it goes from ATP, which is 3, to ADP, which is 2. Then it even further decreases to adenosine monophosphate. So creatine phosphate, the really putting a lot of creatine phosphate in your reserves helps quickly replenish that phosphate molecule in that phosphagen system, which will bring it back up from adenosine monophosphate back up to adenosine diphosphate, back up to adenosine triphosphate, giving
Right.
you again the explosiveness we need to be an athlete. Whether you're in
Yeah.
the gym, so you're bench pressing, you whip out 10 reps, probably takes 20 to 30 seconds, if that. Then you take that rest, so your body's already depleted of the phosphate. So having the creatine phosphate in your system helps replenish that energy source
Right.
again for your next set.
Right.
And normally
Right.
it take anywhere from, it depends on the person. Everyone's different. Our chemistry is different. Our physiological buildup is different. It could take a minute, 2 minutes to build that ATP back to explosive top speed.
Yeah.
Um, it's a miracle supplement. And I don't, there is nothing. I've seen, and you probably, I think what your comments would mirror what I say. Nothing that says there's a negative impact on healthy individuals who take creatine. Would you find that to be
Yeah.
true?
Yeah, no, I get physicals every year. I get a blood panel done. They check all the vitals. They check your kidneys. They check your A1C, all those critical things and by the way, we all should be getting our blood work done annually. That
Right.
should be a standard process of just your overall well-being. So with that being said, over the 20-year period, I've never seen anything that my doctor said that, oh wow, wait a minute, what supplements? And I fully disclose, to my doctor, I take creatine every day, and will continue to for my entire life. I really believe in this supplement. And a couple things that we talked about is the enhancement endurance in sports, the neurological benefits. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, there's just tons of really beneficial benefits that creatine provides. So it's a staple for me. Listen, I'll tell anyone starting a program if you've never done one before, it's a great aid in helping you, particularly when you're starting out in your recovery, or for
Absolutely.
someone that's trying to, if you are trying to get stronger, or you are trying to, increase the amount of weight you can lift for whatever reason,
Right.
or are you just trying to just maintain? It by far to me is the most essential supplement that has the least of risk that I can think of I've actually used myself.
Yeah, and I basically do the same as you. I take a scoop every night because I think your
Yeah,
body helps us at rest. Your body assimilates, any supplement you take. But I also
sure.
put a scoop in my water.
Right,
If I use an energy drink during my workout, I put a scoop in. A lot of the workout drinks have creatine in it, but I make sure. Like right now, I'm in a no workout pre-workout drink mode. I do that. I've
right.
taken a pre-workout drink for a month, and when I finish container, I go like a month without it. And the reason why there's no scientific reason. You talk about mindset. It's my mindset. It's my habit, and it's
Yeah.
worked for me so far. So when I have just water, my thermos with my bottle, I have a scoop of creatine. And here's what the studies do show. The studies show that taking creatine just minimally increases your testosterone levels, if at all. But it doesn't have a huge effect on the testosterone. What it does, that if you take it right while you're working out, it
Right.
does increase the growth hormone levels. So that's
Hmm.
key. The growth hormone factors, the insulin factors, is increased, which then will lead to muscle growth. Of course, it helps stimulate muscle growth. So that is one of the big factors. That's why I take it. It's not because I look at those studies and I say I'm going. I want my growth hormones to be increased
Right.
as I'm working out. And I mean, by working out, if you're lifting relatively heavy weights, your testosterone levels are going to be increased anyway, and your growth hormones. But that helps further increase
Yeah.
the growth hormone. So, Coach, let me ask you this: I have we talked our last podcast about youth sports and youth. What's your opinion about kids? And when should they start taking creatine? What does your studies? What's your experience? What does that show?
Yeah.
What
Yeah. So I'm me on the conservative side. I think, 16, just some people may be comfortable. Typically, 15, 16 years old. That's my opinion based on as well, Coach, or you looking at studies and reading. I mean, can kids be taking creatine? I think at 16, it only should be an administered decision made by your parents
absolutely
or your guardians. I don't think any kid should, although we know that the risk barrier is very, very low. I still think that that should be a decision made by the parents. And I do think too, although there's no real studies that support some of the myth that we hear about creatine,
right.
I think you should make sure your kidneys and those things are all functioning, but not because of creatine, but those are things that you should just be doing
Right.
as a part of what you do in terms of working out, exercise, endurance, no matter what. You should always want to have an adequate starting point to know what your blood work look like, because that should determine how you take care of yourself overall. period. So I
Absolutely.
had to
Right.
add that in there because I think it goes along with it.
That is a point I wanted to touch on. You must read my mind. I don't know. But here's the thing. All these studies are true and they hold a lot of credence and credibility if you have a healthy liver and healthy kidney and healthy pancreas. If you don't, then creatine can be harmful. So
Yeah,
this is with a healthy individual. And Coach Jamie said have blood work done every year. Absolutely have blood work done every year because they will check your creatine levels and they will be able to tell. Listen, you do your blood work. It's amazing what they can show that about the PSA or whatever that
yeah,
the cursor for cancer. They can tell now if you have risk or not. They will be able to tell you if your kidneys, your liver, your pancreas is not working properly. So if that comes back clean, you can use creatine without any harm at all. But along those lines of children and I absolutely, I don't think prepubescent kids should take anything. No
yeah.
supplements, no caffeine. I mean, if they, no caffeine, minimize caffeine, have Sprite, it's like,
Right,
they don't need anything in their body. Okay. And
right.
even, I agree with you. 13 years old, it's a little, as they hit puberty, not while they're
Sure.
going through puberty, at post pubescent, then they can start taking this. And I would suggest they can take it anytime, technically. But
Sure.
as a coach, as I'm a conservative, I believe let your body adjust to lifting, to the
Right.
hard work on its own without any, and then start adding 14, 15, and 16. You're right. But it's a parental decision. But
Absolutely.
it's funny. When I was coaching out in the Seattle area. I have people tell me, my kid's not taking creatine. Now these were 17-year-old kids, and I'm like,
Sure.
they want to go to the next level in tennis. And I said, why? And I said, my doctor told me it's bad for you. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Doctors, and I have a lot of friends who are doctors. They get 2 weeks of nutritional education in med school. 2 weeks. I know, and they come to me for nutritional advice. I'm sure they come for you. I'm not disparaging any physicians. They are wonderful what they do, but I would contact people like myself, like Coach Jamie, who know the science, who do the research, who live with this every day. This is our life. This is not we don't answer these questions about creatine supplementation maybe once every 6 weeks when some kid comes in because he's having an annual physical or whatever. So I'm not disparaging physicians. Medical doctors are absolutely, but I have a person who was head of cardiologist at one of the local hospitals here in Florida. And she said, I don't have any idea about nutrition. I'll ask you. But along those lines. So there's nothing wrong with it, but it's up to the parents. And I didn't argue with the parents. So that's your decision. That's your decision.
Right.
And if a coach argues with you, then I think that's not, I'm not the parent, I'm the coach. I will
Sure.
advise you and coach, you will advise people, but that's not my decision.
No.
But yeah,
Well said. Well said.
and here's another thing. We talked about the cognitive. Studies have shown this has been like a wonder supplement. They have showed it help with ADHD. They show it help with bipolar depressions. They show creatine helps with severe depression. A lot of these mental infirmities, evidence is starting to show that it's helping with. We talked about the couple podcasts ago about the hippocampus that works with the memory and the mental acuity. And it helps with that too. It helps with memory. It helps with spatial recognition. So
Right.
these are all in the infancy because these are newly studied topics because they're starting to see this has such a broad range of
Sure.
in dementia. And so they're starting to use that in dementia patients. So I'm not saying it's a great panacea. It's going to correct all ills in this world, but I'm going to tell you, you should be taking creatine.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And,
Well said. I couldn't agree more.
you know,
Great supplement.
we're gonna go into more supplementation. Jamie and I were talking. We ware talking before we came on about other supplements, fish oil. Like we can hold that's going to
Yeah.
be a whole nother topic. What other supplements you should be taking
Yeah.
to really benefit yourself? And we're gonna go into this. If you guys have a topic you like us to discuss, please reach out to us. We love talking. We have a broad range that we love to talk about. When Jamie and I talk, we talk for hours sometimes, and I don't know, we cover everything.
Yeah, we
So
do. And then, and part of it, what goes along with it, Scott, we talked about is just talking about people, exercising and making sure you're in the right type of environment to really achieve good exercise habits. And
right,
that has to do with, the right type of relationships you have with people who you choose to be around and who you allow to be around you. And so I think, you mentioned, yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to us broadening our spectrum and
Absolutely.
talking about more nutrition, but also helping people to shift away from a dependency on
Right.
people's goals and values that don't align when you're
Right.
trying to better your approach to being healthier or losing weight or just overall just being a healthier person. So,
Yeah, and I think next week we're going to talk about the week after. We're going to start putting some more some workouts together for you guys, just like a quick workout. So, because people have asked me, what do you do? How do you work out? And I'm like, I could go into it. So, what we're going to do, it's going to be like basically you're working out 101. What you could do 4 days a week, 50 minutes a time, a session. We talked about that last week, how good that is. We
yeah,
talked about the cardio, the mental acuity, and the physical fitness, and why 150 minutes a week is very important to do.
yeah,
And we're gonna put some workouts together. It's not we're not.
yeah.
This is from our knowledge, our experience, and what we've learned over the course of decades doing this. So yeah, looking forward to
Yeah,
that too.
listen, I'll say this, I'm very proud of how we represent ourselves and how we take care of ourselves. We're not just on here talking. We
Right.
really live it. And
Absolutely.
I'm proud of the body of work that I put in to, achieve the level of overall health and fitness that we both have, Scott. And I think
Takes
that's something to
time.
be said, so kudos to you and I
Kudos to you.
agree. Yeah, yeah, good
Listen,
stuff.
speaking about living, you guys get out there, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. Thank the Lord for all our blessings, and let's go Miami Dolphins. Let's go Fins. Gotta throw that in.
You got to throw that in, right? Like, the Dolphins,
Absolutely.
they just don't do well, Scott, in that cold weather, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this game today. I'm gonna be
but they
down
did. They
here.
won, what, two in a row? The Dolphins have won two in a row, right?
They've been playing
They
impressively.
just beat the Raiders. They just beat the Raiders.
Tua looks good. The wideouts look good. There's the people coming in to play who you didn't really expect, but yeah,
Yeah,
they're playing well. So they got to win out. They've got to win out to make the playoffs.
yeah,
It's an exciting time of the
yeah,
year. Exciting time with the holiday, Christmas coming up. Everything exciting for football down here in South Florida and up in the Northeast. So we love
yeah.
you guys. God bless you. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your friends. Have a blessed rest of your Thanksgiving and we'll see you next week.
All right, buddy. All right, man.
Thanks.
Have a great one, Scott.
You too, my friend. Love you. God bless. And
Love you
we'll
guys.
talk
Love you.
soon. Bye bye.
All right, talk soon.